There was never any doubt in my mind I'd get there. I just didn't know how that would look.
Nedd Brockmann.
Nedd Brockmann, an absolute legend of a man.
Running a whopping 3,800 kilometres from Perth to Sydney.
Day one.
Woo! In pouring rain, strong headwinds, blaring sun, and pain no normal human should cope with.
And I've never been in so much pain. I'm just like wriggling, like in terms of like the run pain, and I'm just like, my eyes are on the back of my head. I'm going, what am I doing? Like, I am in the middle of freaking South Australia, and the doctor goes, look, mate, it is gonna fucking kill you to run. But it was never like, I'm gonna quit. We're coming out, baby!
Nedd Brockmann reached his goal of raising $1 million. He raised more than that to combat homelessness.
The 23-year-old Sparky receiving a rock star reception as he ran the final steps to Bondi Beach.
Today, I have the distinct pleasure of sitting down with Nedd Brockmann. In this conversation, we cover why he got into running, how he progressed so quickly, the motivation behind his Trans-Australia adventure, the many extraordinary obstacles that he faced and overcame along the way, including a near debilitating injury suffered early in the campaign. We discuss his post-run PTSD, how he's dealing with sudden kind of overnight fame, his new role as an inspirational figure. Most importantly, what we can all learn from his example when it comes to human potential and the power we all have to do amazing things when the mind and the body and the spirit are totally dialed in. And also this insane story about his toe becoming maggot infested.
40K into the run, it's pissing down rain, and I thought it must be water in my toe. So I've pulled my socks off, and then I'm like, I've got maggots in my toe. There's like 5 maggots in there.
Nedd is the real deal, as they say down under. He's a bloody legend. I love getting to know him a bit. And this one is both fun and inspiring. So here we go. This is me and Nedd Brockmann. I'm super excited to be with you here today, a legend in the flesh. I'm on my sabbatical here in Byron Bay, and typically I don't do any podcasts or any work. I try to avoid everything, but come on, man. I'm here. I got to get together with Nedd.
We have to make it happen.
I know. And you drove 8 hours from Sydney to come up here?
Yeah, we just established that you flew 15, so I made it halfway, 8-hour drive. And
you did.
We're here now, so I'm very excited.
I appreciate it, man. I was just so enthralled and enamored, not just by the sheer kind of physical and mental feat of you running across Australia, but really, you know, how you comported yourself throughout that experience and the manner in which you shared all your vulnerabilities throughout that insane adventure. I'm excited to unpack it with you. And I think, you know, in thinking about, you know, why I wanted to do this and what makes you special, as you might suspect, I'm on the receiving end of a lot of messages alerting me about this person and that person.
Absolutely.
There's always somebody doing something crazy.
I can imagine. I'm even on that now.
Yeah. And after a while, I sort of become immune to it. I'm like, okay, that's
Congrats.
cool,
Yeah.
amazing. You know, hat off to that person. But those feats have become less and less interesting to me unless there's a compelling story behind it. And you're such a unique character. I think I said to a friend, like, this guy is not only supremely authentic, he is also like the most Aussie in the history of all Aussies. Like, you're a full-on character, dude.
Yeah,
You know?
I guess so. I guess the lingo is strong in me, and the mullet and the tradie, I guess, yeah, it's pretty Aussie.
Yeah. I've had the honor to talk to a bunch of guys who've run across the United States.
Yep.
Hella Sidibe, Robbie Balenger. I did one with Mike Wardian that hasn't come up yet. Ricky Gates. I reached out to all those guys, and I was like, I'm gonna be getting together with Nedd, and they're all fired up.
Oh,
like,
really?
they all followed you, and they're all
so
like
good.
massive fans.
Yeah.
And I asked them for some questions to ask you, which we'll get to.
Amazing.
We'll get to
I'm
later.
pumped. And yeah, I actually, like, Robbie and hella. I remember I messaged with Robbie a bit. And
Yeah, Robbie said he talked to your crew recently, I guess. Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, to have that, you know, it's now almost worldwide. There's people all over the country who's been able to talk to about their experiences, and it's been pretty wild.
Yeah. It's the best of what social media has to offer.
Absolutely.
Social media has a lot of problems, but
a lot more negative than positive, but when you can use it for the good, it's
the ability
awesome.
to just inspire people all over the world without any kind of filter or middleman
Absolutely.
is a really powerful thing. And you are like this amazing example of that.
Yeah, thank you.
See people all over the world. But what clinched it for me was, I was like, oh, this guy's Nedd's doing this. Okay. I'm sort of paying attention from a distance. Like, that's cool. But it wasn't until you rolled into Bondi and I saw thousands of people there. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? How did that happen? Because my friends who've run across the United States, they finish, their friends are there, families there. It's pretty uneventful in terms of, mass enthusiasm about that accomplishment. But in your case, it felt like the entire country was just holding their breath, waiting for you to finish this thing. And the kind of reception that you received at the finish line was something I've never seen. Like, how did that, is that just an Australian thing, or like, what was that about?
I think the Aussie thing was a part of it, but I also think it was quite I would almost say it's been a pretty crappy time for people, and kind of coming out of COVID, and it's been like everyone's trying to do more stuff now. And so it was almost this shining light in a kind of, crappy time. And so people were just relying on me to show up each day, and kind of used me as a fuel for them. And I was showing up, and I got quite injured along the run, but I was showing my, as you said, vulnerability day in, day out. Whether I was feeling amazing, I'd be screaming at the thing saying I'm feeling amazing, or I'd be crying and just showing all the hurt I was feeling. And I think people were like, oh my God, if this, powerful person can do this, I can too, and I can get behind it. And so, the further and further I got, and the more and more I showed myself and what I was doing. And like the original goal was 100K a day, and which is 62 miles.
Right.
And I stuck true to that for the first 11, 12 days, and then got a pretty severe shin injury. And I disappeared for one day on social media. I was so present and, posting my daily update.
Yeah, there was a gap on the Instagram feed and, for a couple of days there.
I reckon I got a good 100 messages going, mate, are you okay? And meanwhile, I was 14 hours away from where I'd marked the pink line on the road, and getting an injection and trying to work out a plan to get back and get running again. And then, the day after, I just screamed, let's fucking go on the screen. And then people just like, oh my God, he's back. And it just, built this momentum, which was just, gives me goosebumps thinking about Bondi, like that, those scenes there and coming down. And I wish I could relive it, but it was over in a flash.
Right.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time thinking about the power of inspiration and the qualitative difference between aspiration and inspiration. So I know like David Goggins is like a North Star for you. He's somebody who's unbelievably, powerful in his ability to motivate people and be this, kind of beacon of inspiration. But there's something inaccessible about him because he's so extreme, right?
Yeah.
And he's so taciturn.
Does feel like that.
And so I think it's a challenge for somebody to kind of emotionally relate to his interior experience.
Absolutely.
Because it's so, on the far end of that spectrum. Whereas you fall more into this, kind of in the middle between aspiration and inspiration, because people can see themselves in you because of that willingness on your part to be vulnerable, to show the warts and to talk about how much you're hurting and how much you hate it and like how it sucks and like all of that.
Absolutely. Even like for me, Goggins was it still is a big form of inspiration for me. And it kind of kicked my mindset into gear, like kind of kicked me into you can actually tap into that and start doing more, with your day, and start running more and start, doing uncomfortable things. And then I was exactly that. I found that it's not all about staying hard all the time. Like I tried to emulate that a bit, but it just, you'll burn out. Like I just don't know how it's possible to continue to be like that. Because if you do something, for example, run across the country and, averaging 80K a day or 85 plus, you are going to crash at the end of that.
Yeah, it's not going to go smooth.
No. And your your adrenal fatigue, your mental state, and that, you have to keep showing up and you have to keep getting in that mindset of fight or flight every day.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do get out of that, it's like your body's going, oh, he's resting now. Let's chill out. And if you keep trying to fight that, it's going to end badly.
Right.
So I think there's beauty in getting really uncomfortable and showing up when it's the time to, but when it is the time to not, it's like allow yourself to relax and appreciate what your body's done for you.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you've only got one of them. You've only got one set of legs. It's like you've got to, allow it to be settle down.
Yeah. We're going to go through all of it, but I want to start with how you're doing now, because in the postmortem, how many months has it been now? Like 3 months?
3 months now,
About 3 months, right?
Yeah.
So how is the body doing? How are you doing physically? And how are you doing emotionally? Like, what has this, couple months been like for you?
Yeah, it's been interesting. And it's like, I don't really know how you navigate these things unless you do a lot of them, right? Mm-hmm. Physically, I'm actually pretty good now. Still got fat pad and my feet issues because I was running on just tar, no dirt, no grass. And then I've got had a few hip wear and tear, glute med tendons. But other than that, I'm pretty good, to be honest. I've been running just 6 or 5 or so Ks. And strength training in the gym, stretching, doing all the stuff. Emotionally and spiritually, I'm exhausted. Yeah. I'm still not waking up. I usually in the go time, I'm a 4 a.m. wake up, go. There's no stopping. Uh-huh. But now I'm it's 6 a.m. and I'm open my eyes. I'm what's going on here? Sun's up, so that's usually a bit hard for me when I see the sun up. When I'm usually used to getting up before it and go getting it. But I'm getting there. It's I had a rough probably month in the middle where I almost a lack of purpose. So I've had this idea of this 2-year goal, got the goal, woke up every day thinking about it, went to sleep thinking about it every night. And then to be finished and then to, have nothing almost to push for. It's not that I don't have any other goals or any other, happiness in my life. It's just that when you're so devoted to something, it's really hard to, oh, amazing. Now let's get on with the next thing. It's I've got to, be okay with sitting back and trying to ponder what I've just done and appreciate it, So yeah, I had a tough 4 weeks or so where I just found myself a bit lost. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess I think that's probably the lack of exercise too, to be perfectly honest. When you're moving for 17 hours a day, you need to, you go cold turkey on it. You're not going to be able to feel that same excitement. So, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at the moment. And I've just got to appreciate that my body has done a lot for me.
But you have talked about PTSD, night terrors, the alarm would go off and send you into a panic thinking you would have to get up and run 100K.
I still get
and
that.
The kind of, the emotional residue of enduring that trauma and having such an intense experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And the PTSD, I think that started probably 10 days into the run, to be honest, because I'm Australia, I don't know about America. I know there's a lot of people in America, but it's pretty similar distance running across Australia, or probably 1,000K extra.
Yeah, it's 4,000K versus 3,100 miles.
Oh, okay, so 5 and a bit.
It's in the range, I guess.
Right. So it's yeah. So for me, it's when you get out of WA, so Western Australia, after about 400K, it's pretty remote. Mm-hmm. So you go from civilization and people to maybe a town every 200 kilometers. And then in the middle of it, there's nothing for 800 kilometers.
Yeah, that's a mind fuck.
Yeah. And so when you get to, you head east, you go down, and then you literally it's called Norseman. You head across and you don't see really any people until you hit New South Wales, to be perfectly honest. And so that's scary. And knowing that you got 900 kilometers in your legs, you've got a good 11-day stint of running 100 kilometers a day with no healthcare, not really any access to good food. You know, you're very isolated, no service, so you can't reach out to many people if, you know, it does go wrong. So that gets you incredibly on edge. And so the fact that it was feeling like I was almost going to war, like, okay, this is it, we're going. We're out in the depths of hell here. So yeah, I think knowing I had to put my head and body through that, when I would go to sleep overnight in one of these roadhouses, which is all that they have in these towns, is just like a place to sleep.
I mean, what are those? Like bunkhouses or something? Are they like motels?
Well, they're just like fuel stations with a few beds in them. And the food is like just your pub grub, steak or chicken schnitzel, or you're not getting like, you'd be tough to be a vegan out there, I'll tell you that. Be hot
no
chips.
Vegan pad thai.
Yeah, no, definitely not. And so for me, I'm like, well, and even like a chicken schnitzel, chips and veggies, it's like got all the oils and all this. It's like not the greatest nutrition, but for me, I was just craving these, whatever I could get there, I would eat, you know? And so on a night on the run, I would be waking up in the middle going, who's taking me back? So I would have these like out of body feelings. I'd be waking up going, oh fuck, I'm 300 kilometers back from where I was. So I'd wake up in this terror of, oh no, I've got to run an extra 300 kilometers on top. Like someone's taking me back in the middle of the night. But yeah, so a culmination of all that. And when I did finish, because there's so many road trains as well, like, you know, 50 meters long, 120 plus tons. So that wind when it's coming at you is like,
road trains are just the 18 wheelers, the trucks, the cargo trucks.
Yeah. The 18 wheeler is one carriage. So there's like 4 carriages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They're like, Australia's pretty well run off trucks, where they're just going every 3 minutes probably across the country. So that road I run is really only for trucks, to be honest. And so they would just go every 3 minutes. So I would, even if I had music, there'd just be this like, rum, rum. I pass you every time. And so when you're in that mode, it's like, it's just, you can't control it, but you still like, there's nothing you can do about it. And so
there's no shoulder really, right?
No, absolutely not. And if I was to run on the like rocky dirt on the side, it'd be on a tilt of 30 degrees, which meant, you know, my body's out of alignment. So yeah, definitely no shoulder. The shoulder was all of a foot. And so I'm getting brushed and I'm, you know, some trucks were pretty good to me, but a lot were like, get off the fucking road, mate. And so, yeah, when I finished the run, I was probably for the first week out, I'd wake up and just like screaming, just going like dodging trucks in my sleep and, you know, like going, oh no, I'm back on the road. And so, yeah, that hurt a bit, but I got on top of that and I'm not still thinking about trucks at night. So that's good.
And what about the brain? Like I've spent time with the Iron Cowboy, James Lawrence.
Yeah,
you know
incredible. He was a massive inspiration of mine too.
Yeah, I was there for the final day of his 100, you know, consecutive Ironmans. And you know,
how is he going? Has he cooked himself?
He's you know, he's been pretty transparent about how difficult the recovery has been and the brain fog and, you know, his inability to,
he was in
like,
such a trance.
You know, he's probably, I'm sure he's fine now, or at least mostly fine. But you know, he was concerned that his body might not ever recover. His brain was having difficulty. I know you talked about some brain fog stuff. I mean, you know, sort of healing the shin and all that other stuff is one thing, but you know, your cognition and just the emotional, like, you know, like you talked about, like spitting all the time because you're used to doing that. Literally. You couldn't stop spitting.
Nah, and afterwards. I woke up in the middle of after the run and spat at the wall, and my girlfriend was like, "You can't do that, mate." It was traumatic.
Because you're getting the red dust.
Yeah, just so much dirt. And I even had like my AirPods in all the time, right? And so I must have just been pushing dust in there. And when I went on a bit of a holiday when I finished, I couldn't hear out of this left ear. And I'm going, what's going on? But I got an ear check and it was just so much buildup of red dust.
Right.
And I was like, oh, this is not good.
Have you had like blood tests done and stuff like that in the aftermath?
I was low iron and like a few other things. I was still inflamed internally, so potentially a gluten problem, but it's all sorted now, which is good. But yeah, back like on the trance, like with like the same as Iron Cowboy, it's like when I finish the run, you know, I'm doing all these media, you know, this media, all these podcasts, all this stuff, and I actually limited it as much as I possibly could. But when I'm in them, I'm talking like I'm there, but I'm also talking like I'm out of it. So I'm in this confusion between the two. And so when I get prompted a question, I would be like, oh God, this is really hard for me to talk about. And it might be either the trauma or the fact that I am still trying to process it. So I was finding that really, really hard. And so a few of these chats I'd have, I'd just go blank. And then I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, guys. I think this is like my brain trying to block out what I've just been through.
Right.
But now it's cool because I'm starting to do a few keynotes and get the words, try and actually work out what I was feeling. And it's pretty insightful, I guess.
Do you have a therapist that you're working this stuff through with, or?
I haven't yet. I had it in place, but there is obviously clearly benefit in having a therapist. For me, I wanted to try and see how I'd go manage it myself. But yeah, I guess there's, giving me that it would be good to get tools to be able to deal with it much easier than having to, find the way myself.
So you just turned 24, right?
Just turned, yep.
So you were 23 when you did this. Incredibly young. Most big ultra endurance feats are people that are in their, at least like their mid to late 30s, if not 40s, and into even their early 50s.
Absolutely.
It's like a sport that a lot of athletes get into later in life when they've got a lot of Ks under the belt.
Absolutely, and the bones and tendons.
So it's very unusual for somebody so young. I think it's cool. Like the ultra world is exploding, and more young people are getting into it earlier than traditionally has been the case. But, the added kind of flavor here is that you'd only been running 2 years, right? You didn't even get into running until you were like 21.
Yeah, literally. I just honestly was about to have a shower. I'd looked into the mirror and I saw back fat and I went, I've got to start running, lose some weight. And that was when I was just turned 21.
So you grew up on like a farm, right?
Yeah.
Like not like sort of how far, like not anywhere near Sydney.
No,
right?
no, we're about 600 kilometers. So west of Sydney, pretty well bang smack in the middle of New South Wales. We were 60K from town. So the nearest town to healthcare for whatever was 60 kilometers away. That's, obviously people would have thought I might have run into town, assuming my running ability, but no, I didn't. And we always did sport like rugby and swimming, but it was all our parents' choice, not us. I would have loved to have not, but then I found a love for sport probably through going to high school, and then just fell out of love with it when I finished high school, and I, did what every 20, 21-year-old would do and went out partying, went out drinking, skipped exercise, and then I saw a bit of back fat and thought I had to get on with it.
Yeah. So you moved to Sydney to become an electrician, right? So you're doing your apprenticeship. The lifestyle caught up to you a little bit.
Yep.
On the early side, though, you're lucky, man.
Yeah,
most people don't have that kind of epiphany until they're like mid to late 30s or something.
That's probably
40.
That's probably the distinct correlation between ultra runners starting at 40. Because they just had a bit of a blowout at 38.
An early midlife crisis, a young life crisis.
That's right.
Right.
Absolutely.
So where does the impulse? So you have this realization, like, I don't like the back fat or whatever. So where's the leap to putting on the running shoes come from? Just that's
literally
the easiest way to.
And then went and ran, and when I knew that I'd energy out, energy food in. I knew that you eat a bit more, eat a bit less, and run a bit more, you'll burn the fat. I have a pretty good basic knowledge of strength training and all this stuff through sport, but I just went, I got to get out, and so I actually started doing it literally for weight loss. But when I quickly realized what the feeling I was getting of running kilometers, I was like, oh, wow. So then I just literally went, okay, ran 5K, ran 10K. The next time ran 15K. And then literally by 2 weeks later, I was running 21K. Never run up over 6 kilometers before other than the, school cross country. And then all of a sudden I'm running half marathon, and I went and ran 30K. And then I asked a mate, I said, do you want to go run a marathon today? And I just went and ran a marathon. So it was just like this. And then I heard people that, run marathons, and I never even thought of it. Like that was a wild thing for me. So this is all in a matter of like 6 months. And then I'd heard of ultras. I heard people would run 60, 80, 100 kilometers. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. I'll see if I can do it. And then Yeah, within a year, I had finished a 100K run and 50 marathons in 50 days.
Within a year.
Within a year.
So the 50 marathons in 50 days was still within 1 year of you beginning running.
Yes.
Yeah. And like the 100K and those other, running the marathon, those weren't races. You just
No, I just did them.
you just got up in the morning and was like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, I actually got home
you
from
ran
work.
to Palm Beach.
Right? I actually literally got home from work and went, righto. So I'd do a 8-10 hour day at work, get home, tried nap, couldn't nap because I'm so excited about the thought of running 100 kilometers. Put my pack on. All I had was a muffin, a banana, and 2 of the water bottles. And then I came back with the 2 water bottles empty. I didn't fill them up. I just literally had no idea about nutrition or hydration or electrolytes. Got there, got 50K by 2 o'clock in the morning. Turned around, ran home, found a way. I didn't obviously know where any water was.
Right, but you could like stop at gas stations or something like that and get like water.
For me, I didn't even touch the water till I was at 30K because I was trying to keep it to use it for later. And then I literally had a muffin and a banana. That was all my nutrition. And I know how many people it's gels and Cliff Bars and everything. And I was just. I guess I was like, oh, cool. I've now run 100K with minimal nutrition. Like I can, what else can I do? And then it just kind of.
Like a light bulb moment.
Yeah.
Like, I got something in my tank.
I was just hungry. I was just hungry to see what I actually could do. It wasn't like, find your possibilities. It was like, I'm not actually sure where this stops. So let's go find it. And then I remember running the 100K and being in that like immense pain, but like, that awesome feeling when you finish. Laying in bed, looking up at the roof going, I've got to do something. The next day, I posted a thing on Instagram saying I'm going to run 50 marathons, 50 days in a month's time. And then I'd never back-to-back any runs like that. And I did a half marathon and a half marathon, like 21. Like 2 days later, back-to-back, and went, I'll be sweet. And then, And so I, on September the 1st, I did it August the 1st, I posted that. And then September the 1st, I was working full-time while I was running the marathons. I'd finish work about 3:30, put the shoes on at 4, run out the door and run for 4.5 hours and get home and go again.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's something really powerful about the naivete of the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get up in their heads and they have an aspiration. I'm going to run a marathon or I'm going to do a 50K or even outside of running, some other challenge. But then they sort of get lured into this analysis paralysis. Like, I got to
10%.
I got to work out the logistics, and then the start date keeps getting pushed back out of fear or whatever. But the impulse to just be like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I have that confidence to do it. And like the fact that you just ran to Palm Beach, there's a lot of instances in your story where you're just out over your skis.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like when you started the run across Australia, like I've heard you talk about like not knowing that there was all kinds of elevation in Western Australia, right?
No,
like you didn't even get a topo map and figure out what you were dealing with.
I knew there was about 20,000.
Other people would have that like fully mapped out.
I had the route. That's all I had.
Yeah.
I guess I saw there was 20,000 meters elevation over the whole country, and I went, it must be in New South Wales, so I reckon I'll be fine by then to run elevation. And it was obviously not. It was a lot in WA.
Yeah.
Probably about 8,000 meters elevation on the first 12 days. But it's just like, I think people, as you said, people just overthink it and get so stuck on the fact, there's all this scientific research that you've got to incrementally load by 10% each week if you want to start, instead of otherwise you'll get a stress fracture, you'll get this or that. And I'm young, bones are strong, I'm good, I'll be right. And if I'm not, I'm not. And more times than not, I'll find that I actually was okay. And I think, as soon as you have that mindset of like, something could go wrong, the first moment of anything slightly off the track of what you planned will be gone. You'll be done.
Yeah. And, it's not without its perils though. Like we're going to get to day 11. What happened there. So, maybe a little bit of wisdom and preparation might have avoided that.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
I guess my preparation is more mental still. I obviously I strength train a lot. I do a lot of strength training. My Ks, I like to be probably underprepared in kilometers, but overprepared in strength training. But when you put out what you're doing and you've put it out there, you've got on, Today Show, live television and said, I'm running across the country in September. You kind of can't get it, pull out of it.
And that's a powerful accountability partner.
Absolutely. And I love
the
being
whole
accountable.
nation.
Yeah, absolutely. While they're eating their Wheat Bix. And I once you put it out there, you can't stop. But I had 3 MRIs on my tibia from April till September. September was the start, and I had 3 MRIs to stress fracture in my tibia because I was just so aware of it. And so my kilometers were like all of 40 plus K a week.
Yeah. Well, a couple thoughts on that. I mean, first of all, there's limits to how much you can train to prepare for running across the country,
Absolutely.
right? Like it's more important, like to your point of making sure that your strength training is on point. And being fresh when you start, like you can't show up tired because you've been, cranking out so much volume. Yeah. Right. And the Iron Cowboy talks about this, like when he barely did any running before the 100 Ironmans because he just figured he would walk and run his way into that fitness and too much running ahead of time would set him up for injury.
Absolutely. I think if you're running, if you're to run 700 kilometers a week, like the time it would take you to be able to run 500 kilometers a week consistently would be so long. Like, it's just so much time on your feet throughout your training. Like you just can't do that. Yeah. But getting your head around it and getting your strength and your, time on your feet, it's a mind game then.
Yeah. So walk me through the kind of mental decision. Once you did the 50 marathons in 50 days, I'm sure that was a huge accomplishment and made you feel like you were capable of even greater things.
Definitely.
It's a leap to say, okay, now I'm going to not only run across Australia, but I'm going to break the record, which was 42 days?
43, yeah.
43
and a half, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you land on that?
It was actually midway through the 50 marathons. When I got to day 10, I was like, I'm going to do this, no worries. What's next? I want to have that in my head because, I was saying, when you feel a bit lost after it, you want to kind of have what you want. And so I was running and I did the run and I met up with a mate after I finished the marathons and we're sitting in the pub having a schnitzel and he's like, I told him my plan of running 60K a day, but because the Guinness record was like 67. And he goes, I'm sure there's people who've done it quicker. I went, oh, right. And I had a look and I saw that it was 43 and I go, what's that average out to be? And it's like, I think it was 93K a day or something to beat it. And I went, fuck, 100K a day would be pretty cool. And then I looked up the guys, people in America, running across America and Pete Kostelnik, he's, around 114K a day or something. And I'm like, why can't I do that? And so, someone's done something. Why? What is limiting me from not being able to do that? Why is it that someone can? You know what I mean? Like that mental block isn't there for me.
But where does that come from? Was that instilled in you by your parents, like that level of confidence and capability?
I think so. I think it comes from them allowing them. I reckon belief in doing something comes from belief in you to do whatever you want. So as long as you're allowed and you allow yourself to be okay with getting whatever it is, I think that is the crucial part. So not having your, not basing the idea of achieving a goal of who you are, but achieving whatever you want with who you are. So like if you don't get the record, then it doesn't matter. But if you don't get the record and you haven't been okay with who you are, you're going to probably align your self-worth with this record. So you're, not worthy of getting it. For me, I'm just okay with who I am. So whether I go out on a limb and I've, failed, but I've still tried, I have no issue with that. So by being like, my parents have always been like, just whatever it is, do it, but do it with absolute conviction. Don't, sit back, do it half-assed. Yeah. And I was always like, when I rode at school, I was always I was never in the top boat, but I was always like, I'm going to get in this top boat. I was never in the first 15, but I was like, I want to get in this football team like so badly. So I'd rock up to training early, or I'd run to training, or I'd just a combination of things. And I think watching Dad as well on the farm, like has never complained his whole life. And he's, rocked up to work every single day for 40 plus years. And so, but not just talking about it, but actually seeing him do it, that was kind of a big thing for me. So I guess another thing, I went back to the farm and saw him actually just show up again. I'm like, this bloke is the biggest workhorse I've ever met. Like, and to see how hard he has worked, that for me was like, oh, you can actually just keep doing this.
Yeah.
And I guess, it came about by that, I guess. Yeah.
And your parents were part of your crew.
Yeah.
Right?
It was pretty
What
cool.
what was their response when you told them you wanted to do this?
Mum was all for it. She was like, if that's what you want to do, I'm supportive of you, but just don't half-ass it. Don't get all these sponsors and then get halfway through it and go, oh, fuck, I don't know if I can do this. So, but yeah, a mother's love is, her sitting back and watching me put myself through that was a lot. And I can tell you every day she would have been going, fuck, I want to tell him to stop. But if I do, it's going to shit him off because he's, the plan was 100K a day. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
But to have them there for the whole thing for 47 days, like, you leave school, you leave, your parents, they're, gone. You probably only see them for Christmas or New Year's or, your birthday potentially. But to spend 47 days with them on the road, so intensely was a life memory I'll never be able to forget.
So you make this announcement, you're preparing, you're starting to talk about the challenge with the media. And I know that you went on Mark Boris's show and he asked you, like, how are you feeling? And you're like, oh, great. I'm ready to go. I'm feeling perfect.
Yeah.
Quietly though, you're fully injured. Your knees are fucked up.
Yep.
Your trainer wrote a whole blog post about all your injuries and everything that was going on behind the scenes. Yeah, I read it. Behind the scenes before, we're not even at the start line yet. No. And you were fully tweaked.
Yep. Yeah. So I did, prior to announcing this run, I hadn't run 100K since November 2020. And I was like, well, I need to remember how running 100K feels.
Right.
And I went and did like a bit of a hell week. I went and trained out at my family farm just for like hell month, sorry. I went out and I did 2 100Ks in a week plus probably, another 65K on top of it. And after the first 100K I did, I went pretty quick and I felt good, did all the food right. And I finished and I woke up the next morning and my knees, I've never been in so much pain. And I'm like, this is not good. And I ran, I think 12K the next day just to kind of, try and run on very sore legs. But I was obviously patella femoral pain.
Right.
But it was just like, I had to keep running on it. So I was just like, just damaging it more. Obviously just tight quads, tight everything. And it was just referring to my knees. And then I had to run 100K on the Saturday. And because I had just said, this is what I have to do. I have to run 2 100Ks this week. It's just a no-brainer. You have to do it. And so I just started. I went, it's going to have to find a way. Like if it's not a bone, I'm fine. Like if it's not a stress fracture, we're all good. And it wasn't. So I just had to show up. And so when I finished that, I didn't really run till the start of the event. Which wasn't great. I'm not going to lie.
Like the kind of like youthful.
I'll be right.
Arrogance is the wrong word, but like
stubbornness.
Yeah, stubbornness.
Oh, I'm stubborn.
The wise thing is, just make sure when you line up on day one, like you're fully 100%, like rested, no injuries, none of that. But
I remember the 2 days.
You could have pushed it. Like, let me just push the start date.
Yeah, but the problem is Australia is just so freaking hot, especially in the middle of the country. If I went another month, I'd be blistered up on the back of my legs and arms. And it just would have been too hard. Like it would have been just like the heat would have just been so intense that it would have just factored in so much more like time.
Yeah.
But I got to 2 days before leaving and I went for a run with my girlfriend and I was just complaining about my knees the whole time. I'm going, this is going to be pretty I guess I was only complaining though because I knew about the pain I was about to put myself in. It wasn't that, oh, my knees are hurting. It was like, oh, fuck, my knees are hurting. I'm going to do some serious damage here. That's all that was going on in my head. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be able to find a way to pull out, because I couldn't. I had it like, I just don't pull out.
And how far in advance of the beginning
This
was
is
that?
about 2 weeks.
Wow.
So I flew over like a week and a bit to go. But 2 days before I flew over from Sydney, I was like telling my girlfriend that this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
I'm like potentially looking at walking for 20 hours a day to get 100K out, and no breaks. You know what I mean? It was just finding a way. And then, I flew over. I ran once when I was over in WA. And like a lot of people think I just, I was running, because I turned my Strava off because I wasn't running these Ks, but I was just like, 100 plus, all good, running all these Ks. And I got over there and I'm like, oh no. Anyway, and I just wanted to be in it, because all I was doing was thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. And then when I finally got to the day one of that morning, I was just so happy, because now I'm in it.
Yeah. Where do you compartmentalize that doubt? Because that doesn't have any room.
No, it doesn't. And there was just it was all affirmations of, you're going to do this. There was no like, oh no. It was like, I was thinking about I just want to start, but I wasn't thinking about, once I was in it, I was like, I can't wait for the knee pain, because it's going to be there. I knew it was going to be there. Right. But it was all just like positive words. It was like, I'm going to get to Bondi I'm either going to get sent out of here in a body bag, or I'm going to get to Bondi.
Yeah.
There was no other way. And so each day there might've been a few like, fuck, I'm not like, this is fucked. But it was never like, I'm going to quit. There was never any doubt in my mind I'd get there. It just didn't know how that would look.
So you kick things off. First of all, you pull together a bunch of sponsors. You got Puma. You got a camper van, right?
Yep.
Like so you were able to like string this together, because financially, like it's not a small thing, right?
Especially when you bring there's 5 or 6 people there as well the whole time.
And you get to the starting line. You kick things off. It's all fucking rainbows, and you're sharing positivity on social media. A little bit of like, whoa, didn't see all this elevation coming. It's beating you up a little bit. So let's get to day 10, 11 and like walk me through like that whole insanity.
Yeah. Starting my first day was like, it was really good to be like, okay, cool, 103K, amazing. I was done by 5:30 that night. I still had a lot of light in the ice bath. And I was like, right, we're in this. However I wake up, I'm going to wake up earlier and get the day done, because I knew the adapting would come at some point, but I didn't know when. I got to day 3 and that was pretty well where I was like my worst in terms of DOMs, like just muscular soreness. And then about day 5 and 6, my core temp was just shot. So I just could not regulate my system. Yeah. And so as soon as I'd finish, I'd be freezing my ass off, and then I'd be trying to warm up, be getting massages, and I was just shaking. I couldn't stop. And then I'd get in the camper van bed and just sweat all night, and the walls would be dripping with my heat sweat. And so I couldn't sleep. So that first week I wouldn't have slept more than an hour a night, because I was just so out of whack. I got to day 9, we've just hit that Norseman section where there's nothing. I've just camped on the side of the road on the day 10. My physio leaves.
Just in time.
And I've woken up the next day on day 11, and I got to 42K, and my my right shin just was like, just so much swelling. I was just like, okay, this isn't good. This feels a bit bone stressy, because I've had a few before, and I was like, this feels an awful lot like bone. This is not good. Then we're running my fingers down it, and didn't feel like I was on the bone, but there was just so much swelling. So it was I couldn't really work it out. I got the 100K out, took me a long time. I was finished at 9 o'clock that night, and woke up the next day, could not run for the life of me. I think I tried close to 40 times to get in a bit of a rhythm with running, but I couldn't. It was just jarring. And I've called my physio, but it's like crackly on the line. And he's like, mate, can you try strap it this way? Can you put this in it? Can you do this? And we tried everything, Voltaren all day. Nothing would work. And so I walked 40K that day, and I went, look, I've got to give myself the best chance of, healing. So I finished at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, went to the roadhouse, iced, and just slept, just tried to get some sleep back because I knew the lack of sleep was really fucking with me as well. I was starting to get a bit delirious. My body isn't actually recovering the best it could. And so I gave myself one till 3 a.m. the next morning, so 14 hours, which was much more than I was getting before. I was getting all of 6-7 hours. And then I went again, I couldn't do it. And so my physio was rung up the nearest MRI place, which was 14 hours away.
14-hour drive.
14-hour drive. So about 1,600 kilometres.
Nowhere.
Yeah, middle of fucking nowhere. It would have been longer to go back to Perth. And so I got to 40K and my physio had rang up the sports doc and sports doc had ordered an urgent MRI for the next morning at this place. And so we stayed the night in Sejuna, drove another 4 hours to this place to get the MRI. Got the MRI at 12 o'clock that lunch, midday on the 14th day, so the 14th of September. And then we got the results back. I'm in the car sitting in there. He goes, good news is your bones are as strong as I've ever seen for someone being 14 days into this monstrosity. However, you've got severe tenosynovitis and that's not great. And we're going, okay, what does that mean? He goes, look, usually it's a 6-week in the boot, do nothing. But you're not going to do nothing. So we're going to work out what you got to do.
Shin, it's just injury to the shin sheath?
Yeah, so the tendon sheath has just become so inflamed. But it can actually get infected because of the inflammation. And so the further, the longer you delay it. And so I've got there and I go, okay, what do I do? And he goes, look, we can cortisone it, but usually you'd have to take 5 to 7 days off. But I know you're not going to do that. So we'll cortisone it and we'll just try and blast it, like try and just disperse it everywhere. And if you can find a dictus band, which is for people with drop foot, it's a rubber band, goes through your laces, allows your foot to pick up and down. If you can find one of those, that'd be ideal. And so my girlfriend's on the mission to find a dictus band. I'm in the injection part of the hospital and I'm getting injected into my shin. No anesthetic, just straight cortisone in. And I've never been in so much pain. I'm just like wriggling, like in terms of like the run pain and the shin injection pain. And I'm just like, my eyes rolling in the back of my head. I'm going, what am I doing? Like I am in the middle of freaking South Australia getting injected in my shin after 1,500
you're only like 20% in.
Literally. And so that was a big and also the record slowly getting dragged away was also weighing on my head. And so I got this injection. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm adamant I'm running on the 15th morning. We're 15 hours away. I get the injection and the doctor goes, look, mate, it is going to fucking kill you to run, but this dictus band is going to allow you to lift your foot up because you have no function of it. But you're just going to have to work it out because it's not bone. So you'll be right. And I went, done. Got in the car at 3:30, drove 15 hours.
Back to where you left off.
Back to where we left off. But thankfully the time zone would go back. So we actually made up some time. Not like actually, but in terms of the time we started. Got there at 2 a.m., laid down for 2 hours, started running at 5, got 700K out of that next week.
Prophets walk among us. As a writer and podcaster for nearly 10 years, I've become more convinced than ever that our world is populated by scores of beautiful and brilliant people who have amazing stories to share. Those that we don't know, who can teach us something new and leave us all the better for the experience of their sharing. And so I've dedicated my career to tracking down the most compelling prophets on the planet, going deep with each of them on my podcast to elucidate the best of what they have to offer and to sharing the insights gleaned for the benefit of all. But the podcast is not the only medium by which to share their stories, which is why I'm proud to announce the release of my new book, Voicing Change Volume 2. More than mere words on paper, Voicing Change is a physical manifestation of the magic, inspiration, and timeless wisdom that transpires each week on the Rich Roll podcast. The first edition of Voicing Change was a beautifully rendered book worthy of display on any coffee table. And Volume 2 follows in that tradition by showcasing even more of my favorite conversations in an elegant publication replete with interview excerpts, essays, and and stunning photography, making for an exquisite companion to the first volume or a satisfying standalone work. Picking up this book allows you to revisit the wisdom of your favorite everyday prophets and physically interact with the life-changing ideas contained within. Voicing Change Volume 2, available now while supplies last for a limited time. Order your copy today only at richroll.com.
You know, I've got this injury, right? The record's gone. This is the point I was saying before, is like if I based my worth or my, who I am on me getting this record, then I'd be on a plane, the nearest plane back to Bondi as soon as I could. But for me, I was like, what you're doing is so much more important than any record, any putting a flag in the ground could ever be. It was like, you caught onto it. So people were catching on and seeing this person just continuing to show up, continuing to like keep fighting. And so when, I had that option to go, oh, this is, it's incredible. You've done 1,500 kilometers. Everyone would excuse you for going home, and you'd be congratulations. But I went, this is not what I set out to do. I set out to get from A to B and raise a shit ton of money for a charity, and I'm not stopping now.
Yeah. Well, let's get into that. I mean, you've spoken, quite a bit about how you're an intrinsically motivated person.
Yep.
That motivation meaning it's coming from within yourself.
Yeah.
So I want to understand that a little bit better. But at the same time, in parallel, there's a lot of extrinsic motivation because it was this groundswell thing where slowly more and more people, in Australia and across the world were starting to tune in.
Yeah.
Pay attention to what you're doing. You have media figures in Australia who are talking about you on the radio, like Hamish and like all these people are like, and a lot of these people are also donating money to the charity piece, which I want to get into as well. Yeah. So that's a lot of external pressure at the same time. So how do you think about those two factors in, when you wake up in the morning and you're staring down the barrel of another 100K and you just feel like you can't even move?
I guess like the Instagram and the media and the talk is cool, and I loved it because it allowed the awareness of what I was doing, but also the money raised. Like that allowed that to go gangbusters. But getting a message from Hamish or getting a message from like Adesanya, the UFC fighter.
Right, you were getting videos.
Yeah, I was getting videos and all these cool things, which if I wasn't doing the run would have been amazing. But mid-run, it's like that doesn't wake me up on day 10 or day 11 to go to Whyalla and get this injection. It's like, why is it you're doing this? And so if I boil it down, it's like, it has always been from that day one, running to Palm Beach and back, about me wanting to succeed at something for me. So when it comes to about, like it was, even with the 50 marathons, I did that because I wanted to see what I could do, but raising the money was the byproduct of people seeing it. And so the same thing with this run. It's like, you're a 23-year-old who's never run before, or never really run before, who's attempting to run something of like a magnitude that very few people have done. How fucking cool is that? Like that is wild.
Yeah.
And so the pride that comes out of me when I talk about it is like, I'm so proud of the fact I've been able to go, oh my God, I can make a life in this. I can continue to push myself while helping people to know they're more capable of a lot more, because I haven't come from a running background or anything like that. It's all just come from, let's just see what I can do. And so, when it gets to that point, it's just like, every day is exciting.
The experience of being so deep in that pain cave where you can't hide from yourself, and the demons are coming out and they're talking a big game into your head and telling you to quit, and you're having this out of body experience. I mean, it really is a spiritual odyssey.
100%.
That really shows you exactly who you are.
Absolutely.
Right? So what did you take from that? Like, what did you learn from the experience of just being in that other place that very few people flirt with?
I think that because you're not doing it all the time, right? But when you are doing it, it's like you would know with all your runs you've done. There is nothing like that feeling of getting up and going again. So I think it's like the pressure of people saying you can't, for one, for me, but also what if you just take another step? And so when you do take another step, what is that going to bring? What new thing are you going to see? What new feeling are you going to feel? And so there is no words I've found yet to explain the feeling of getting to Bondi and seeing that, because that was a culmination of not just 47 days, but 2 years of busting my ass every day, waking up at 4 o'clock, having cold showers every day, strict food, doing it's not just like I didn't wake up one day and go bang. It was like I'm doing hard things every day. So when it does get there, it's like it was all worth it. You know what I mean? I get to Bondi and see that. It's like, holy shit. And that out of body spiritual feeling I got when I got to Bondi, like a finish line feel through getting through something that was so hard and, everyone would have said you couldn't have done it. But knowing I went through all that with my injuries and through all that with, when you look up on the highway in the middle of this country and you can't see anything but the horizon of nothing, it's like, oh, we're out here. We're out here alone. Even though I had my family and my crew with me, I was so alone. Like I was so vulnerable out there. To get to Bondi and feel that, like I want to get the words to describe that, but I don't think I will for a while.
But it must give you this profound sense of purpose, like a sense of like, I made the right choice. There was something deep inside me that guided me to do this for a reason beyond myself. Because in many ways, like you've run yourself into an entirely new life.
100%. I literally ran from being relatively unknown to then like this person that people are like, oh fuck, what's Brockmann going to do again? What's his next thing? What's like, but like, I like purpose is cool. I think we all have purpose. I think there's purpose for everyone, but it's like, there's purpose in everything. It's just as long as you do it fully. Like for me, this has all come about so quickly. So I'm not sure there might be purpose in me doing something else in 2 years. Like my purpose might not be running across continents. It might be to motivate people or to, I'm not sure what it is, but it's like, as long as I'm going, giving it everything, that's what it is for me. Yeah. Not just sitting back going, oh, that's cool, that'd be nice. It's like, no, whatever it is I'm deciding to do, I'm fucking doing it wholeheartedly.
Yeah. I think that's pretty healthy. I mean, I think I see two different kinds of people who do these hard type of things. On the one hand, there's people that continue to do it. Like they're just, in a healthy way, like they're testing themselves and they're always trying to find that outer edge. In an unhealthy way, it's almost like they're stuck. Like my value or my identity is so wed to doing hard things. If I stop doing that, then who am I?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think that's what I'm talking about.
I think a lot of people get caught in that trap and it's like, I have to plan the next thing.
Yeah.
If I don't, then, what are people going to think of me?
Of course.
And then the other group of people who are like, I did this thing. It's changed my perspective on capability, potential, who I am, et cetera.
Yeah.
Now, what do I do with what I learned to continue to grow? And sometimes that means, I'll do another hard thing. But sometimes it means I need to apply this in other areas of my life,
Absolutely.
And I think that's the healthier plan. 100%. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't go and do more stuff like this.
Of course.
But to not get caught in that trap and feel like you're doing it because you have to, or that you need to be in a rush to do it.
Yeah. And I think that's like, I get asked that a lot now is like, what's next? What's next? And I go, I don't know yet, but when I do what I'm going to do, it's not going to be for anyone else but me. In terms of, I'm not doing it for external pressure of doing it. I'm doing it for the fact that I want to do it because I know of that spiritual feeling I got when I finished that run. I know of that, the amount of people I had inspired and motivated to go and like the messages I get, like you were saying, it's like some are like, oh, you should go see what this person's doing now, Ned. But a lot of them are like, mate, I know you probably get all these messages, but I just wanted to say I was addicted to meth, or this is literally like, I've had 5 or so messages like that. Now I'm running. I would love to run with you.
Wow.
Or this, I'm like, the power of being you and doing you know what I mean? Like if you're trying to be someone else, like people would have seen through what I did if I was trying to be someone else.
Yeah.
But because I was being me and I was being so true to what I want to do, that's why people were so excited about it.
Yeah.
There was no like, oh fuck, he's doing this for fame or he's doing this for to be seen. It's like, no, I'm doing
Aussies
this.
are very attuned to that too.
Fuck yeah.
Any sniff of that,
They're like, oh, this
and
bloke.
you're out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like,
Don't get too big on yourself, dude.
Yeah,
They'll
exactly.
turn on you quick.
absolutely. It's like the Aussies love the underdog.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but it's even now I'm
But
like,
now you're not the underdog anymore.
no, I know. But I feel like so be it. Some people aren't going to like it, but that's all part of it too. Like you don't want, I'm not doing my days hoping that everyone likes me. I'm doing it because I want to be me and do me. And so whatever comes of that comes of it.
Yeah. There's an adage in the ultra world that you should never compile a crew of your friends and loved ones, because those dark moments are going to snap back on those people. And you defied that rule. Your crew is comprised of your girlfriend and your parents, the people you love the most. And you had a little bit of a learning curve with that too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's probably grown my relationship with my girlfriend and my mother. I just got back from the injections, and we're seeing that horizon of nothing, and there's nothing in front of us. And I was just in a really foul mood. I was obviously in a lot of pain. I was still in this pain from the shin. It hadn't got easier yet. And I just was just foul. I was foul.
Yeah.
I'm plus 1,000K in, and I just snarled at my girlfriend, and I think I told her to fuck off. And I think she was just like, I'm scared. Like this is not, because I was in a dark. I had to go to that place, and I don't really know when I'm going to go there, but when it's fucked up out there, you've just got to find whatever it is you need to use as fuel. And so I just did it. I just went at my girlfriend. I wanted her to turn on me, to be honest. I wanted her to go, you can't do it, or you something, you know what I mean? Any fuel, give me fuel. And so instead of appreciating that they're there for me to help me and use that out on give me fuel on the roadkill or the road trains, I used it on my family and my girlfriend and my, photographer. And so when I got to the van and my girlfriend had spoken to my mum got out of the car and just like the mother's look of, like looking through me. Yeah. It was through me. And I was like, oh no. She goes, don't ever can talk to your girlfriend like that again. Don't ever speak don't ever speak to us like that again. Or we're all going. And I was like, noted. I'm really sorry. I needed that. I needed the slap in the face, because I wouldn't have seen it otherwise. If they kept going on and kept allowing me to do it, I would have kept pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
And mum just, went. And I think I've spoken to mum since, and she said, I was so worried everyone would leave and there would be you, me and your dad. That's why I had to turn on you just at that point. And I was like, oh. So mum was like managing all these little relationships, because I've never been so intensely with my girlfriend like that, never been so intensely with my photographer like that, or my physio. So my mother's been with me. So she was just managing these little fires that they were starting. And so she was just like, we cannot have Gemma leave. We cannot have Brad leave.
Yeah.
So she's like, Ned, we're going to leave, meaning they will leave if you don't freaking shut up.
Yeah.
Or, appreciate what they're here for and take it out on something else. And so from then on, it was like smooth sailing, but I'm sure they all would have got on a freaking plane.
Yeah. I mean, crew rebellion's a real thing. And if you don't have that cohesion, these people are taking, 47 days out of their life to devote it completely to you, and to 100%. Know that you, being this kind of affable, fun guy, can be that dark is its own teacher.
Absolutely.
That you have that inside you.
And you're putting this up on your video, but that's why I was putting up the terrible stuff too. Like I'm not just it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's actually, it's hard. And my family and my friends got that.
Yeah. talk about the roadkill. That's real, right? Like I didn't realize that is so intense.
Yeah.
That there's so much of it and the stench is just with you like the whole time.
Yeah, it's putrid, especially when you're eating so much food all day and then you get that waft probably a minute before you see the animal. But yeah, because Australia is so much wildlife.
Yeah.
Kangaroos are trying to eat the food along the side of the road. And so, in the headlights come along, they decide to run in front of the vehicle, not run away. And yeah, there's just literally, there'd be a kangaroo or a possum or a wombat or a fox or anything just on the road. There's even a dead camel.
Yeah.
They reek the most. But yeah, it was just like, it just stuck with you. And then you don't want to eat and you're gagging at the thought of what you've just run past. You're trying to hold your breath. You don't want to hold your breath because it
stays
running
with you.
Yeah.
So if you smell it now, does it bring you back, that sense memory, bring you right back?
Road trains are the worst.
Yeah.
They bring me back to the road.
Wow.
Yeah. I kind of got used to the roadkill. I was like, here's one, run past and then get on with it. But yeah, sometimes you miss them and they would just pop up when you're right next to them. But
in the questions that like Wardian and Hella and Robbie shared with me for you, there were a couple. I mean, Wardian, I think Robbie also wanted to know like what was the most unreal act of kindness that you experienced, because I think these guys, they're running across America, so they're going through towns all the time. They're interacting with lots of people, plenty of opportunities to like have chats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know that would have been an experience that you would have had, right? Because there's so few. Well, you're in these roadhouses. You are seeing some people along the way, right?
I was seeing a lot of truckies. So the truckies were starting to recognize me. And when I would get to halfway across, they go, he's still going. How far's he running? Where's he going to? There was a few like really cool times where when I got to Mildura, which was like the first big kind of town since, Perth, the whole town was lining up. And I was like, if this is what Mildura is like and Wagga was pretty well the same, what's Sydney going to be like? Like this is wild.
Yeah.
And honking and cash donations. And I think someone rocked up and gave $1,500 cash just on the side of a freaking highway.
Wow.
This is like Nullarbor area. I guess like majority of people were had heard about it by the time I got halfway through. So there was always like every second car was a honk or filming or standing up, donating. And there was no real, I'm trying to think about standout. I can't really.
What about, you have any run-ins with the cops?
Yeah, on day 2.
Yeah.
So because I initially in the planning with the legal, like the state and governments, they said I had to run at sunrise and sunset. I couldn't run any time either side of it. And I obviously can't do that when there's 17 hours of a day I'm running.
Yeah.
And I got to the end of day 2 and the local copper had clocked me at like 60K and he'd pulled up and going, you got to get off this road. I've had one of my best mates was killed walking along here. So I need you I think it was his own thing. I was like, yeah, no worries. But like, I'm about to go into 30 or 40 plus more days of this.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate that, but I got to get going. That feels so far away. I'm only just picturing that again. Like day 2 felt so much longer away than what day 46 was. Like that feels like 6 years ago, that moment. But Bondi feels like a week ago.
Yeah.
Where
time's weird that way, right?
Oh, especially
the first
when
couple days probably feel a lot longer and then time starts to like morph where the later days when you're starting to feel good again.
But you're in this trance and this flow state for so long. You just wake up and when you do get into it, it's like, okay. And then you're at 80K and you're like, okay, I remember this roadhouse, I remember that where I left, but you don't really remember the in-betweens. And I think that might be a bit of PTSD, but.
And you had AirPods in all the photos. So what were you listening to? Were you listening to music? What are you pumping into the head?
I was first 10 days, funnily enough, didn't listen to anything. That was all mute, no music. And then by about day 20, I was at 4:30 in the morning, AC/DC blasting.
Yeah.
Because I just was like, I was using it kind of the way Goggins talks about it as cheating. how you like if you put music in it, it makes it easier.
Yeah.
So I was using it like the last 10K of a few days, last 10K. But it's like torture when you aren't using it, when you know it's there. And
because it wasn't hard enough, you had to make it harder.
yeah, exactly. But I, as podcasts when I could, when it was like, you know, fine for me to listen and not actually be in pain, so to speak, I could listen to it. But when I was hurting and which was majority of the time, I was just playing. Yeah.
Robbie wanted to know if you had any kind of mantras or mindset tricks that allowed you to kind of weather the dark moments.
It was always if you can't run, just walk. Just go and walk to the next post. So there's obviously the signposts along the way. And I'd be like, if today's a day where I'm not really feeling it, I would run to a post, walk to a post, run to a post, walk to a post, until I got into the rhythm of like, okay, this run's good. But it would be like at the end of each day, I wrote my Instagram post up, which was almost like a reflection for me. It was like this beautiful amount of time for me to sit back, do my diary journal, but on Instagram. And at the end of each one, I was just like telling myself, I've got to just find a way, like find a way. And that would be why I got through the shin and why we got, you know, it's just like, do not give in, just find a way of what you got to do.
Yeah.
And so I think I think find a way was a good mantra I had. And then just keep showing up. So it's a similar thing. Yeah.
Talk to me about the mullet.
Yeah.
Did you have a mullet beforehand?
Yeah.
You did. How long have you been rocking the mullet?
I've been in and out of them for probably since year 6. But in between job interviews, I had to cut them and go again. I think the main reason for it is like the breaking down of like a stereotype. So when I walk into a room, you already have an idea of me if you don't know who I am. And if I go in there and I can hold a conversation, I've also raised $2.5 million for charity and I can run, you know, you've already got this preconceived idea of me being some bullhead tradie that, you know, goes out all weekend. But, you know, you can also not. And it's like if I walk in a room with, you know, people in suits or whatever and I rock up like this, breaks down barriers straight away. And it's like this, you know, it's just like tattoos or it's like this is me, you know?
Yeah.
And there's no like, I don't have to be clean cut and to be a good person or to be a good man. Like it's just me. Yeah. And I think I like doubling down on it as well.
But now it's iconic.
Absolutely.
You can't, there's no way, right?
No. And
it precedes you every room you walk into.
Yeah.
Right. And now that you're like this media darling, like you're recognizable at like 200 meters.
Yeah. Way more recognizable from the back than the front. Yeah. Absolutely.
How has that been like now, you know, 3 months later, you know, you go from this just, you know, kind of normal bloke into being somebody who, you know, is probably recognized everywhere you go, especially in Sydney.
Especially in Sydney, especially around the beaches.
Yeah.
Even BYRON, like I went up here yesterday, I'm going, it's going to be nice, peaceful, going to walk around Main Street, get some food to eat, just chill out. And I'm like getting every third man's going, Nedd. I'm going, oh no, should have worn my hoodie. It's too hot though. Yeah, it's been fine. And I was saying before, it's like I can't raise money, can't you know, be this person to use inspiration without being known. So now I am. It's like you take the good with the bad. Like, you know, sometimes walking down to Woolies and getting your food, you don't want to be pulled over and say, can I get a photo? But it's all part of it. And it's like that might be there one time to meet me. And so I don't want to be seen off as being a vlog or I want to be myself. But I've also got to appreciate that I don't want, you know, I've got to be by myself and with myself a lot too. Sure. I can't always give my energy.
But there's got to be a lot of gratitude with that too. They're not doing that because they saw you in a reality show. Absolutely. Or they're recognizing you for the, you know, the valor of the accomplishment.
And people felt like they were on the journey with me.
Yeah, they're your friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm somewhat approachable on my Instagram, so I think people
they already know you.
In my life.
There's Nedd.
Absolutely. Hey mate, how's that? This I'm going. How do you? Oh, that's right. Social media. The power. Yeah. So no, it's been cool. It's been a weird transition, and it's like I'm starting to find peace in it as well, knowing that people are just going to know me. The more and more I do with this, the more and more people are going to know me. Just go with it.
I feel like most people want to eat better. They want to improve their diets.
Absolutely.
Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it.
This trips up so many people. We thought, hey, we know a couple things about how to do this.
A few.
So we created this thing called the Plant Power Meal Planner that is this beautiful offering whereby you gain access to literally thousands of plant-based recipes that you can totally customize based upon your preferences, your allergies, your peccadillos. It integrates with grocery delivery. So all the ingredients that you need get shipped right to your door so you can make the stuff that you've pre-selected.
And we all could use a little inspiration and support when preparing meals for our families in our busy lives. So we hope you join us no matter what your eating style is. We have our arms open wide, and we've saved you a space at our family table to join us in eating more healthy, vibrant, plant-based meals.
Visit meals.richroll.com. All right, so talk to me about the homelessness issue, why you decided that this was going to be the cause that you wanted to direct your attention towards and leverage the run to raise funds to combat.
Yeah, I get on the homelessness, I think a lot of people were a bit confused with me doing the whole run for homelessness. I do want to clear that up, that it's like I wanted to do it for see what I could see what's possible, what I'm capable of, to help inspire, and then to also help on the side. The homelessness came about when I moved to Sydney from the country, and I saw a heap of homeless people in Eddy Avenue, which is in the city. When I went to, I would ride or run or walk into TAFE, and I was like just confronted by how much homelessness there was. And so initially, I'm like, "Fuck, how do I talk to these people? Like, I don't know how." Approaching them, how to approach them, how to, interact, where I'm like, it's so fucking stupid because they're just people who need help. So my initial, hesitation was obviously, I think, what a lot of people feel. They don't know how to go up and help. And I just called my mum and said, what do I do? And she goes, just talk to them, mate. Get down to their level and just talk to them. I went, yeah, that's right. So I would go up and I'd go, hey, how you going? I'm Ned. Get to their eye level, introduce myself, make them feel as comfortable as possible. And just be like, can I get you food? Can I get you water? Can I get you anything? And a lot of times they're just like, I don't want your help. So they didn't acknowledge me at all. But a lot of times they would. They go, oh, thank you. I'd love that. This would be great. And it just was like, every time I left, I had this profound feeling of I needed to help. Every time I walked past someone, I needed to help them. And so I was like, fuck, my running's starting to get a bit wild. The 50 marathons I just said, I'm going to do this for homelessness. So I raised $100,000 when I did the 50 and 50. And then, it kind of just went, I want to do something with this run. I want to keep in theme of the homelessness as well. And let's raise $1 million. And it kind of just came about that way.
And how did you decide upon the nonprofit that would deploy those funds in the best way?
Yeah, so Noah, who owns Mobilise, We Are Mobilise, which is the charity I raise for, he reached out to me during the 50 marathons in 50 days and was like, what you're doing is incredible. We're a homelessness charity that all volunteers. The most that ever raised prior to this run was $15,000 in a year. And they literally, a lot of them were just literally getting money out of their own pockets and buying stuff and going and starting conversation. But their bread and butter is conversation. So going up and talking with these people and seeing where the help can be given. So it was quite cool that it was the way I went and started talking to people on the street. Then I went, oh, that's right. Noah reached out and they did really cool stuff. Hey, mate, I'm going to raise $1 million for you. You keen? He's like, yeah. And then, we fast forward to now, we raised 2.5 mil.
Yeah, you got 2.5.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that when you started, I mean, you didn't even have $100K raised, right? When the run started.
No.
And so it just picked up steam along the way.
Yeah. I think I hit $100,000 on day 6. And then I was about 450,000 with 10 days to go. And then I was 1.7 million when I hit Bondi.
Right.
I think people, especially Australians, want to see the person finish before they give their cash. Mate, honestly, it is. But this is what happened with the 50 and 50. I think I had 20,000 raised with 10 days to go. Then I raised 100,000. But they just love it when and they want to say and help, because a lot of the donation was to help for homelessness, but a lot was to thank me for what I'd done for them.
Yeah.
And so
that's what, like Mark Boris said that to you. Like he donated. He's like, yeah, I know it's for this, but I'm really doing it
for you.
Like,
yeah, and for what you've done for me. And that was cool. But I think that's what a lot of the later influx was for. It's like, this motherfucker's done it. Go, he's been
there
running.
You go.
Yeah.
Homelessness is such an intractable problem. You know, it entails socioeconomic conditions, systemic issues, political issues, mental health, addiction, all of that. Like it's a sticky wicket, right?
Absolutely.
Like you can buy somebody a meal or, maybe, give them a helping hand, but solving the problem itself is, I mean, I don't know the nature of the problem here in Australia, but it's in the United States.
Yeah, it's massive in the States. I think the misconception is that it's addiction, it's alcoholism, it's actually like here in Australia, it's housing affordability, domestic violence, and like a few other things that have just like, and not having a family that's there for you, and something goes wrong. You know, a lot of people are one paycheck away from being on the street. And so like with Mobilise now, their bread and butter obviously is the interaction and conversation for change, but they're now implementing another pillar, which is they go out and they, for example, because they have this so much funding, they can actually help. So say you're homeless, you need healthcare, or you need, you need a place to rent. You need to gather together 10 grand. I'm from Mobilise. I go up to you and say, what is it you need? They go, I need 10 grand for this. If you can raise 5 grand, we'll give you the other 5. So you can show and we can help you and see where you can save it and we can do this. So actually helping allow them to get into somewhere.
Like instead of giving them a fish, helping teach them how to fish kind of thing.
Being like, well, if you're willing to give this a go and we'll give you all the tools to help, we will help fund half or, whatever it is to help make that happen. And so, but it doesn't have to be about healthcare or housing or whatever. It can be anything. But as long as it's going to aid them in potentially making them get off the street, then that's what we're hoping.
Yeah.
And because
go ahead.
Homeless, like whether we like it or not, everyone has needs. So money is like, me saying I gave them food or water, it's like I'm having a preconceived idea of what they can do with the money. So instead of being, like going, we need to just give you food or water because that's what I think you need. It's like when they have needs, the money is theirs to do. If you're going to give them something and they want the money and you're willing to give something, you know what I mean? It's like that hard. We all have needs.
Sure. Sure. And is the fundraising still open?
It is still open, and then you can still obviously donate to Mobilise, and they are incredible. Like there's one volunteer, he's 26, he started it. Just all young volunteers who I was done a few Zoom calls with them, and they're just the most passionate, helpful people. I'm like, this is great. Like this is what you want.
Doing the real work.
Yeah, and like just they're all volunteers. Like there's no one doing anything, and I would hope that Noah, who started it, would be able to pay himself a bit of a wage to start going full time at it because of how passionate he is about it. But he won't. He just won't do it. So anyway, they'll work it out.
Right. So it's We Are Mobilise with an S, right? In America, they use a Z. But ns.com.au.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can go to Nedd's Record Run.
Yeah.
It's still cool.
What is it that you want people to, take away from this experience that you've had in terms of how they reflect upon themselves?
I think knowing, limit your limitations. So I think a lot of people sit back and go, there's no way I could do that. No way I could do what they've done. So it's like, allow yourself to think. And, there doesn't have to be ambitious people. Like people love just happy with their day, right? And happy with getting on with whatever it is. But I think if you're hesitating in wanting to do something but don't know how, it's like, don't overthink it. Just go for it. No one's going to rouse on you for having a go. No one's going to, you know what I mean? You're not going to let anyone down by having a crack at something. I think it's showing people and giving people that hope that they can also, whatever it is they want to do, go and do it.
So you're now in a situation where you're going to be getting up on stages and doing keynotes and kind of delivering this type of message, including an event. I know you're going to be at an event where Goggins is also speaking, which is very exciting for you. That's great.
It is, especially on your first keynote.
Yeah. It's your very first one.
I've done like the Q&As.
It's a different thing.
Very different thing.
Yeah. So you're working it out?
Yes, getting there. Yeah. I've only got 2 weeks, but I've got a pretty good plan.
That's good, man. So
a lot of memory.
Are you still doing the electrician thing, or is that no more?
Binned. Mate, if there's something, I will not be doing it's that. I just, again, it's like for me when I moved to Sydney, it was exciting, and I'm doing being an electrician, and I'll be able to, even if it was electrical that I ended up doing, I would have 100 guys working for me, or I would, you know what I mean? I'd be just pushing and pushing. But now it's not. It's this ultra scene, and it's this motivation and it's inspiration. And in 5 years' time, it might be something different. But hopefully, I've now got somewhat of a name to be able to then use that to continue to live and be able to do this. Yeah.
You're so young, man. You got your whole life ahead of you to figure this out.
Yeah.
And you're in a position now where, you have a girlfriend and stuff like that, but you don't have a ton of liabilities and responsibilities, and you have the flexibility to kind of pivot and move and create the life of your dreams. It's cool, man.
Yeah. And I'm just pumped to be able to, I have actually created this. Yeah. So now it's like, where to now?
Yeah. So speaking, what else?
For the moment, I'd be on the speaking circuit and just back into training, back into like getting fit and healthy and happy and being like excited about training. And then, working on probably another event. I just because I want to do it. I'm stinging from that, what I've just been through. So I'm just trying to, nothing's set in stone. There's no there's a few ideas I've got circulating, but nothing yet. But I think it'll be just like, we could try this or we could do this, and maybe I'll get a lot more sponsors together or whatever, and make it even cooler.
What is what was the nutrition strategy when you were doing the run? Like, I know it gets difficult to keep food down and all of that, but knowing you got to get, I don't know, some ungodly amount of calories in you every single day.
Yeah. So the plan was 10,000 calories a day, but it's quite hard to do when you're moving so much, and the lack of food along the way. So we had to store everything, or, what we could purchase wasn't great. I was so in the morning it would be oats, heap of brown sugar on it, and then a coffee, banana, strawberries. And then I would usually vomit that up by about an hour in. And then because of just like the phlegm I had from the dirt and the mosquitoes and it was pretty wild. And then I would probably try and eat every hour on the hour, 500 calories if I could. But I was never really getting that in. I ended up losing about 12 kilos over the whole run. So I think I plateaued at about 70 kilos. And I was probably eating and burning the same amount by then, but all the way up I was burning way more and eating heaps less.
Yeah.
But I came into it quite heavy, like with extra weight. Sorry. So I had that to lose, not 12 kilos, but I had probably 6 or so to lose, where I'm at my probably peak weight. And then, obviously I probably lost a few more kilos than I would have liked, but put that back on, no worries.
Yeah. When you were coming into Bondi that final day, is it true that your final marathon was a 2:53?
Oh, no. So that was in the 50 marathons in 50 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I misread that, or I misheard that.
On my 50th marathon in 2020, 20 was a 2:53 marathon.
Yeah, that's
after doing
freaking
49 of
epic.
them.
Right.
But I ran 60K on the last day from Campbelltown into Bondi. But even then, like we woke up at like 7:30. I still had 60K to run that day. I felt like I'd finished, but I still had to run 60 kilometers where it's like...
But that's the way it works, right? You're like, oh, it's just 60 kilometers
60.
and I'm done. Like I'm basically finished with this whole thing.
Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, 60K is a long way, isn't it? And like I was running through towns with no like road paths, like through suburbs with no paths that no one ever runs out there. And so I'm like, this is fucked up. Like I've just run on this highway the whole way and now I've been trying to navigate streets and work out where I'm going. But yeah, it was pretty nice when I got to Bondi. I got to Bondi about 20 minutes early because I told everyone 5:30. I got there about 5 o'clock. And there's like convoy, like people storming helicopters above me. And I'm like, oh no. And
Did you have a sense that would be waiting for you or was that a total shocker?
Total shock.
Yeah.
I knew it was going to be, like I knew there'd be a few people there, like 1,000 or 2 maybe. But even that's a lot. And I just I remember running halfway up the road before Bondi Road and I just saw 2 helicopters and I'm like, what's that? But they were like hovering with me. I'm going, oh no, this is for me. Yeah. And then I remember coming down. So I'm running down Bondi Road from the south end and just every person was like, and you know, when there's this, it's like this hysteria of like, they don't know what's going on, but they know something's going on. So there was like half the people knew what was going on, but the rest were like, what's all this commotion about? And so there's just me in this left lane in the Bondi Road, which never gets shut. They've blocked it off for me. I'm running down and I just saw the beach, like the promenade, and it was like a summer's day in Bondi on steroids.
Yeah.
I was like, you don't see it like that.
Yeah.
And then I got quite taken back. I got quite like, almost like tall poppy syndrome, like you don't deserve this sort of like, and then about 10 seconds later I went, you've been through hell and back, mate. You just fucking, you own that. And then there's just like, I'm just like screaming at everyone like, yeah, it was pretty cool.
It was crazy. I mean, if people who are watching or listening, go to Nedd's Instagram and you got the videos there pinned and stuff. It's wild. I mean, I don't know how many thousands of people were there, but plenty.
Yeah, I don't really know. And the number changes every time I say it. So I'd say around 10,000 to be honest.
Yeah.
But maybe more. I'm not really sure. But then you go like the wide shot from the drone. It's like the whole beach and then the whole like, it's wild.
Yeah.
So wild.
One of the injuries that you sustained that I got to hear more about is the fact that you had like maggots burrowing in your toe.
Yeah.
So is that due to like blisters and swelling or whatever? And then it's the flies like laying eggs in your...
Yeah. Yep. It's pretty well it. So when when your toenails peel off.
Right.
My big right toenail had like half come off. So there was like an opening, but it wasn't fully out. So I didn't like try to pull it off. And we were just cruising along, finished a run, a lot of flies in the outback of Australia. And it'd flown in and I'm obviously like kicking him away. And then 2 days later or 3 days later, I'm in the Nullarbor Roadhouse, like the most remote roadhouse of Australia. And my toe was like aching. It felt like an ingrown toenail. And I'm like, I'm trying to pull the skin away. And I'm like, this is keeping me up. Like it was full on. I could not sleep because of it. I couldn't really sleep anyway, but that was just like a whole other thing. So I clipped half my nail off and still didn't fix it. So I've got out in the run. I'm 40K into the run. It's raining, pissing down rain. And I thought it must be water in my toe. So I've pulled my socks off and there's no like I've dried it and it's like all good. And I'm like, fuck, maybe we need to dry it out, get some alcohol spray. So I sprayed some alcohol into it. And then maggots just start crawling out of it. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh no, because they obviously wanted to get out of the alcohol. So they've just dispersed. I'm like, I've got maggots in my toe because I saw this red blood thing sliding away. And it was like 5 maggots in there. So then we got the cotton bud, scraped it out. And then, Put the new sock on, freaked out a bit, worked out, like tried to
Did you take a video of that?
Yeah, we've got a video.
You haven't shared that.
I haven't shared it. I think we're going to try and use a new doco.
Oh, you're making a documentary?
Potentially, yeah. Because we've got a fair bit of footage. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see about, it just depends on like the work to put into it and versus outcome. So,
but your PT said that possibly the fact that you had maggots in your toe kept it from getting infected.
Yeah.
It was actually a blessing.
Absolutely. And I think they
which
used
is
to do
fucked
that,
up
didn't
to
they?
think about.
Yeah.
Well, it is. Did they?
I think they had like,
you had to clean a wound.
Yeah, if you had a wound,
Yeah.
like you'd put a maggot in it, like not obviously the big ones, but like the small, and they just eat away at the infection and take them out, which is fucked. Like it is so gross. I did question my life choice at that point, but we scraped them out and we were good to go. And I didn't have any pain after that, which was great.
Yeah. So life after the run, you went to the GQ Man of the Year Awards.
Yeah.
A lot of people are calling for you to be Australian of the Year 2023.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a head fuck.
It is a head fuck, especially when I was out there on the road, like I'm not thinking any of this. I'm thinking about getting back to Bondi and like, some people being there. So when, I do get invited to those things, or I feel weird going up there and accepting an award because I'm like, but I guess all the people in there were just the same at some point, not necessarily the running part, but, had a dream of being a singer or a dream of being an actor. And then they're finally an actor. And then they're up there accepting their award for the best solo actor, or best solo artist. And when I went up there, I'm like, it's hard to believe I'm up here, to be perfectly honest. Like being in, 2 weeks into the run on the Nullarbor, having no clue what was ahead of me, to being here dressed up in a suit that I do not feel comfortable in, is very it's very surreal. And I've got the Prime Minister in front of me, Russell Crowe, all these people. And I'm like, I'm swearing my head off and I'm like, oh, well, it's just me, isn't it? So, no, it's very cool. And it's been, I do pinch myself, but I know I've got so much more to give, and I know I've got so much more in me that people want to see and that I want to give to people. Yeah. So it's like, embrace it.
The fact that it's GQ and you're rocking the mullet like that, there's just something really beautiful about that. I love that, man. But it's powerful. Yeah. You're going to bring it back.
Absolutely.
Are there a bunch of Nedd acolytes cruising around now with bleach blonde mullets?
I get, there's always the sports parties or people have parties and it's like rock up as your favorite athlete or your favorite
for
person.
Halloween, people dress up like you.
The amount of freaking things I got tagged in of that was great. But there's a few bleach mullets getting around. Yeah.
My favorite of the things that you've done though, did you do a thing with the Inspired Unemployed?
A podcast? Or
those guys. I love I can't remember when I tuned into those guys, but I love those guys.
Yeah, man. They're so funny, those dudes. So they're such good boys. They're just like your everyday dude, but they've just done some funny content and it's just blown up and people love it. And they're just like they've got some anxieties and they're just the everyday dudes, you know what I mean? They're just doing their thing and they're they presented the award at the GQ for me and they were so nervous before it. And it's like, you know what I mean? It's like this stuff is, you have to be trained to, you have to do stuff like this to be good at it. But you're doing for me, going up there, I'm like, this is fucking wild. But now, the more keynotes I do, the more, this sort of stuff I do, the more comfortable you are talking about your story. Yeah. But those boys are so good. They're so funny and they've done so well out of it.
On the Keynote thing, if you're just yourself and you just, double down on just the authenticity of who you are and keep it real, all the rest of it takes care of itself.
Yeah. Cool. And you've done a few, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm not great at it. It's not like I can do it and I've done plenty of them. I don't think it's my strength.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot doing it though. But I think the ones that I've done that have been the best are where I know the things that I want to say, but I don't try to be so tied to that. And I just kind of show up and be present. Yeah. And relaxed, then it's better. That's more important than like staying on script. And then I think just making it about the audience, like,
yeah, of course,
it's not about you, but like how, like, okay, who are these people? Like, where do they come from? Yeah. What are they interested in hearing about? And the more you can like customize it or make it about them.
Because once you have the script, it's like, you know,
Well, then
you
it
can- you
starts
look
to
like a
just
robot.
become, I mean, I did it so many times after a while. I was like, is this even true? Like I felt so disconnected from what I was saying that I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Or, you know, if I'm going to do it, I have to just throw that out and like show up blank slate.
Just talk.
So I don't know, but I'm excited for you, man.
Yeah,
it's
me
exciting.
too. It's going to be, and I know, you know, the first one's going to potentially suck, and that's all part of it. I've done a few already, like on my own, not in front of anyone or like in front of my girlfriend, but it's going to be like, you know,
you're rehearsing it in
we're
the
only
window.
going up from here.
You got the slides and everything.
Yeah, have to.
Yeah.
I need pointers to remember what I'm.
Do you have any plans to come to the States?
In April, hopefully.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Potentially speak with like a sponsor, like a global sponsor. And do you know Cam Haynes?
Yes, I do.
I'm gonna go bow
Yeah.
hunting, and
I know that he likes all your posts. I saw that. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Cam, I've never met him, but we've communicated a little bit on the internet, and
beautiful,
super like, you know, really like, you know, has a positive attitude about like,
everything,
you know, just supporting as many people.
Yes. And he's just like, no bullshit. And like, I think it's great. I think we need people like that, you know?
Yeah. So you're going to go hang out with him?
I'm going to go and try and pull a bow and
that's a video I want to see.
Yeah. Bow hunting in Oregon with Cam Haynes and go for a run.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there's plenty of eager hosts for you in the States.
Yeah, thank you. That'd be good.
Just as a final thing to kind of, you know, close this thing down, I already asked you a little bit about like what you want people to take away from your run. But I think, you know, there's a lot of people, you know, to your point, who get stuck in their head or walk around with a sense of incapacity about their own possibility and potential. You know, you serve as this really, you know, kind of shining star in terms of, you know, what we're all capable of, because in so many ways you are like the everyman, and you just discovered running a couple of years ago. You're so young. But, you know, speak to that person who does feel kind of stuck on the couch, or every time they feel like they take a stab at something, it snaps back on them and they're just, you know, feeling a little bit directionless.
I think making sure that you're not doing it because you feel you should do it, because it's like the right thing to do. So when, like you, as you said before, it's like Aussies see through the bullshit of people trying to do it for something other than them wanting to do it for them. So if you're doing it for, you know, someone to like you, or, you know, someone to compliment you on something, or, you know, whatever it is in that way, it's like that will not be enough to get you to continually keep getting up off that couch. And so do it for you to feel good, or for you to succeed in something that you've always felt, you know what I mean? So yeah, I guess like not doing it for any other reason than for the reason that you want to do it, if that makes sense. Not for any external validation.
Yeah.
I want a bit more time to probably word that, but I guess that's the essence of what I'm.
Yeah. I mean, when I reflect upon, you know, how you've accomplished this thing, I mean, it feels to me like it started with one little jog because you had the back fat and you didn't like it.
Literally.
And it wasn't like some grand ambition that you were going to run across Australia. No. It was one tiny step. And, you know, when I asked you about mantras and you're talking about just getting to the next lamppost, it's breaking everything down into really easily, you know, repeatable, digestible actions. And, you know, the levers really moved through those tiny things undertaken every day anonymously. You're just a bloke at home going out for a jog here and there, and you strung some things together that led to something fantastic, but it didn't begin that way. So I think like being humble and just getting into the habit of kind of flexing the muscle of self-care wherever that kind of instinct or inspiration is leading you is really the kind of impulse to pay attention to.
Absolutely. And like how many New Year's resolutions are like a 2-week setup, you've changed everything dramatically, and then they're back into doing
flame out.
And so I think it's like, you know, I didn't start with I didn't start with running 100K. I didn't start with ice cold baths every day or ice showers every day, cold showers every day. I didn't start with reading 10 pages of a book. I started with go for a run. Okay, I'm getting further in my running. Now I can incorporate eating well. Oh, this eating well is actually really helping me. And there was just like this incremental increase in doing the more uncomfortable things. So when that became comfortable, I just did the next thing. And then all of a sudden I'm, beating down marathons and I'm running further and I'm, I've got this energy about me that I'm running around being like, hello, how are you? Happy freaking Friday. How good's this? How good's living? Blah, blah, blah. Like it was never like, there was just this energy coming out of me. So I think it's just these slow steps that allow you, but being consistent and disciplined to make sure you continue to do it. Mm-hmm. And then, even like with the weight loss, it started out as a external, lose weight. But what I found when I was trying to do that was this feeling of achievement by getting the next run. And then all of a sudden I'm, doing these long runs and I'm feeling this excitement about how far I can push myself. So when, now it's got nothing to do with losing weight. The weight is a byproduct of now me being happy and me being content with what I'm doing.
Yeah. Beautiful, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time here. I wanted to say, I asked you before you came out, I was like, bring me a budgie smuggler. Yeah. So this is your sponsor, right?
He's in the,
I love that like an ultra runner who ran across Australia had like basically like a bathing suit company as your sponsor.
Shout out to him.
There is nothing more Australian than the budgie smuggler.
It's so
I asked
good.
you to bring me one. This is like perfect. And I feel like I'm an honorary citizen of Australia now.
Thank you.
I love it.
I'm proud to be able to give you a pair. You guys at Budgie will love
I will wear it proudly.
Yeah, absolutely. On the surfboard today.
Yeah, for sure. Super inspired by your feats, by your example. But I think more than that, and like I said at the outset, like the reason I wanted to talk to you has less to do with the fact that you ran across Australia and more about like how you comport yourself. And I think in this age of social media influencers, there's a lot of like not so great influencers out there. And I've got 4 kids and I think a lot about like, who are they looking up to?
Yeah.
Who are, the North Stars of people that they can like draw wisdom from. And the fact that you, being at your age, can serve that for young people and old people like me, I think is really cool. And so I just wanted to honor you for that and let you know that I appreciate what you're doing. And I'm at your service, man.
You're good, man.
I love everything about you and it's just been great to meet you. Thanks.
Thank you. And you, I've been, it's been an honor to be here. I'm really, truly am very grateful and I'm blessed to meet you. Thank you.
Cheers. Everybody, definitely check out Nedd's Instagram. If Nedd's new to you, because you're probably new to a lot of people in the States.
Definitely.
You can scroll through his feed and get a pretty good sense of not just the adventure, but like who this guy is. Pretty cool. Nedd with 2 Ds, Brockmann with 2 N's.
Double D, double N.
Yeah, there you go. That's unique in and of itself. We'll put up links to We Are Mobilize and your website and all that other good stuff, man.
Amazing.
So
thank you.
Cheers, bro. Peace. Plants.